Most dog owners have experienced a moment when they looked around the house and realized that their dog consistently chooses the same person whenever it is time to relax, nap, or settle down for the night. In some households, the choice seems obvious because the dog follows one particular family member almost everywhere they go. In others, the decision appears surprisingly selective because the dog bypasses several equally friendly people before curling up beside a specific individual. The behavior often seems simple on the surface, yet it raises a fascinating question that countless dog owners have wondered about for years: why do dogs sleep beside certain humans? Many people immediately assume the answer must be love, loyalty, or affection, and those factors certainly play an important role in many cases. Dogs frequently form strong emotional bonds with the people they live alongside, and sleeping near someone can be one way of expressing comfort and trust. At the same time, experienced owners often discover that the behavior is influenced by a much larger collection of factors than affection alone. What appears to be a simple sleeping preference can reveal surprisingly complex information about how dogs experience the people around them. One reason the behavior attracts so much attention is that dogs rarely appear random when choosing where they rest. Most dogs have access to multiple locations throughout a home, including beds, couches, blankets, rugs, and quiet corners where they could comfortably spend hours sleeping. Despite these options, many dogs repeatedly return to the same person whenever they want to rest for extended periods of time. The consistency of that choice naturally makes owners curious about what the dog finds so appealing about one particular individual. Part of the answer involves the fact that sleep represents one of the most vulnerable states in a dog's daily life. A sleeping dog is less aware of its surroundings, less prepared to respond to unexpected events, and less capable of monitoring everything happening around it. Because of this vulnerability, many dogs instinctively prefer resting in locations that feel safe, predictable, and comfortable. The person a dog chooses to sleep beside often becomes connected to that sense of security. This does not necessarily mean the chosen individual is the dog's favorite person in every possible situation. Dogs can enjoy spending time with multiple family members while still selecting one specific person as their preferred sleeping companion. The choice often reflects how the dog feels in that person's presence rather than a ranking of affection among household members. Understanding this distinction helps explain why sleeping preferences sometimes surprise the people involved. The first major shift in perspective occurs when owners stop viewing the behavior as a popularity contest and begin viewing it as a comfort decision. Dogs are remarkably practical when choosing where to rest because comfort and security often outweigh many other considerations. A dog may sleep beside someone because that person remains calm, predictable, and consistent throughout the day. From the dog's perspective, these qualities can be incredibly reassuring during periods of rest. Many owners notice that their dog seems especially drawn toward people who maintain relatively steady routines. Dogs often become familiar with household patterns and learn which individuals tend to create the most predictable environments around them. A person who moves calmly, behaves consistently, and follows familiar routines may unintentionally become a preferred sleeping companion because the dog associates them with stability. Stability can be surprisingly valuable from a canine perspective. Another important factor involves scent, which influences many aspects of a dog's daily life far more strongly than most humans realize. Dogs experience the world through scent in ways that are difficult for people to fully appreciate, and familiar human scents often carry powerful associations connected to comfort, safety, and belonging. A person may simply smell familiar and reassuring to the dog after years of shared experiences. This familiarity can make sleeping nearby feel especially appealing. Many dogs appear to seek out items carrying the scent of their favorite sleeping companion even when that person is not physically present. Clothing, blankets, pillows, and other personal belongings often become attractive resting places because they contain familiar scents associated with positive experiences. The behavior suggests that the attraction extends beyond physical proximity and includes a broader sense of comfort connected to that individual. Scent frequently acts as a bridge between the dog and the person it trusts. The second major shift happens when owners realize that sleeping beside someone is often less about attachment alone and more about how the dog experiences that person's presence on a daily basis. Dogs constantly observe human behavior and become familiar with different personalities, energy levels, routines, and habits. Over time, they develop preferences based on these observations. The person they choose for sleep may simply be the person whose presence feels most relaxing. This helps explain why dogs sometimes choose people who are not necessarily the primary caregivers within the household. The individual responsible for feeding, walking, or training the dog may not always be the same person the dog chooses to sleep beside each night. Instead, the dog may gravitate towards someone whose behavior creates a particularly calm and reassuring environment. What feels relaxing to the dog can matter more than many owners realize. Another interesting observation is that some dogs adjust their sleeping preferences depending on circumstances and changing household dynamics. A dog may normally sleep beside one person but temporarily spend more time near another family member during periods of change, stress, illness, or disruption to normal routines. These shifts often reveal how sensitive dogs can be to the emotional and physical environments around them. The behavior is often more flexible than it first appears. Many owners interpret these changes as signs that the dog is trying to provide comfort or support, and while it is difficult to know exactly what the dog is thinking, the timing can certainly appear meaningful. Dogs often spend significant amounts of time observing the people they live with and may respond differently when familiar routines suddenly change. Sleeping near someone can become one way of maintaining connection during uncertain periods. Whether intentional or instinctive, the behavior often strengthens the relationship between dog and owner. The third major shift occurs when people stop asking who the dog loves most and begin asking what conditions make the dog feel safest and most comfortable. This question often produces far more useful answers because it focuses attention on the dog's experience rather than human assumptions about preference. Comfort, familiarity, predictability, scent, routine, and emotional security frequently play important roles in determining sleeping locations. The chosen person often represents a combination of these factors rather than a single explanation. This perspective helps explain why sleeping preferences can remain remarkably stable for years. Once a dog identifies a location or person associated with safety and comfort, there is often little reason to change that decision. The behavior becomes part of the dog's daily routine and continues reinforcing itself through repetition. Every positive experience strengthens the association further. What makes the behavior so endearing is that it often reflects a level of trust that develops gradually over time. Dogs do not simply choose where to sleep based on logic alone but also on the emotional associations they build through countless interactions with the people around them. Every walk, quiet moment, shared routine, and familiar experience contributes something to that relationship. Sleeping beside someone can therefore represent the accumulation of many small experiences rather than one specific reason. Many long-term owners eventually stop trying to analyze every sleeping choice and simply appreciate what the behavior represents. A dog choosing to rest beside someone day after day is often a sign that the relationship provides comfort, security, and familiarity in ways the dog values deeply. While the exact reasons may vary from one dog to another, the underlying message tends to remain remarkably consistent. The dog feels comfortable enough to be vulnerable in that person's presence. That is why dogs sleep beside certain humans. The behavior is often influenced by trust, comfort, familiarity, scent, routine, emotional security, and the countless experiences that shape relationships over time. While affection certainly plays a role, the decision usually reflects a broader sense of safety and contentment that develops through everyday life together. What appears to be a simple sleeping preference often reveals just how much a dog values the presence of a particular person. And once owners begin recognizing how much information dogs communicate through seemingly ordinary behaviors, they often start noticing another daily habit that appears completely routine on the surface but may reveal something equally fascinating about the bond between dogs and humans.